A Suburban Weekend. My name is Andrew. I am married to and I work as an accountant in London Stock Exchange. We live in the suburbs of London. Today is Friday, early morning, and I have a hangover after drinking at a party we went to last night in some friend's house. So, I decided to take the day off from work and enjoy a nice long sleep in my warm bed. But at 6 o'clock a.m., I heard a sound at the front door. It was Steve the milkman delivering our milk bottles and a dozen eggs. His delivery truck is electric in order not to disturb the neighborhood early in the morning, but the banging sound of the milk bottles always wakes me up. I pulled the covers over my head and tried to doze off and go back to sleep, but 15 minutes later the mail flap in the front door was clacking. It was the postman delivering some letters. Normally brown envelopes, which are bills for gas, electricity, water, etc., or junk mail. I was determined not to get up, so I continued to cover my head with the duvet in an attempt to sleep again. And just when I was about to snooze, I heard a knocking on the bedroom's window. It was Tom the window cleaner, or Peeping Tom as we like to call him, putting his ladders against our bedroom's windows. He smiled, waved at me, and sprayed the windows with soap spray, then wiped them clean with his rubber wiper. I was at my tether's end. I had enough. I could not go back to sleep anymore, so I said what the heck and got up, showered and shaved, got casually dressed and went downstairs to the kitchen. Made coffee and toast, checked the mail, then went to open the door to get the milk and eggs. Outside, I saw Kevin the newspaper's delivery boy on his bicycle doing his round. He waved to me and threw the newspaper on the lawn, and before I could wave back to him he was gone. I picked the newspaper, the milk and eggs, went inside and put the milk bottles and eggs in the fridge and sat in the kitchen eating my toast and drinking my coffee and reading the newspaper, then decided to do some gardening. So, I got up and went to the garden shed, put on my gardening gloves, my Wellington boots, and got my tools bag out. First, I mowed the lawn with the lawn mower. Then, I did some racking with the rake to remove some falling leaves, and put them in the wheelbarrow, then dumped them in the wheelie bin. I cleaned the garden's lanterns, and cut the garden's hedge with the garden shears. I also did some weeding to remove unwanted harmful plants in the grass, and sprayed some weed killer. Some plants' branches needed pruning with the pruning shears. In some parts of the garden, we grew some leaf vegetables like spinach, cabbage, lettuce, and some root vegetables like carrot, potato, onion, and also some herbs like basil, mint, coriander, parsley. I added some fertilizers to the soil, watered some plants with the watering can. Then, I planted flower seeds like roses, tulips, sunflowers, daisies, bluebells, jasmines, and magnolia. At the entrance of our garden, we have an arbor with some climbing plants. We have 2 hanging baskets at the front door. We also have few golden fish in a little pond. In the garden, we planted some shrubs, and on either side of it we constructed a pergola and a gazebo. In the garden there is also ornamental tree, a small rock garden, Flowersy's bed near paling fence. In the middle of the garden there is a path made of a flagstone. Some squirrels like to climb on the tree, and a family of ravens lives in it. Sometimes when we eat a meal that contains chicken or meat and throw the remains outside in the garbage bin, a fox will be sniffing around it in the middle of the night, and our dog will bark very loud when she sees the fox with his glaring eyes from behind the sliding glass doors in the living room. The fox is obviously not afraid of her, as she can't get to him, and likes to feed the birds, so we have little birds feeding wooden home in our garden and a bird's bath. Having done all that, and bless her came out to me with a mug of tea and said, "Andy, take a break." So I rested for 10 minutes, then I went to my garage to do a quick maintenance to my car. I changed the oil and the oil filter, the air filter, the spark plugs, added some green water to the radiator and some water to the wipers tank. Then gave the car a good hoover inside and cleaned and washed it and waxed it as well on the outside. I was pleased because I saved a lot of money by doing the gardening and the car maintenance by myself rather than paying a professional gardener and car mechanic to do it. I forgot to mention that I went to the DIY store to get some loft insulation rolls, which helps to keep the heat in the house in winter's months. I also changed some broken roof tiles, which stopped the rain from getting into the loft. I bet you are saying, "You have done enough, Andy, take a rest now." Well, no. I was hungry, so I decided to start a barbecue with some coal and solid fuel and dry tree branches. Then I went to the kitchen and got a 6-pack and some marinated steaks, some drumsticks, burgers, buns, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, pickles, gherkins, ketchup, and mustard. After half an hour the barbecue was ready, as the coal's color was gray and simmering with fire. So, I put the meat on the barbecue, made some lovely sandwiches and opened a bottle of beer. Oh, I forgot to mention, I brought the kitchen's TV out in the garden, and then I laid on the hammock eating, drinking, and watching an exciting football match between Chelsea and Liverpool. That's the life.